Welcome everyone. My name is Gayle, and today we're going to play around with some fun movements that will require us tapping into our whole body and balancing that feeling of flexibility and mobility and stability and strength, and just trying some fun transitions. Half moon will be like part of what we're going to use as kind of our base in a way. And I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. Remember to always listen to your body. I'll try and remember to give you some modifications. And if something doesn't feel safe, don't do it. But at the same time, maybe be adventuresome and experiment and see. You might surprise yourself. So I wanted to share a quote from Rumi. You have within you more than you could ever understand. You have within you more than you could ever understand. So our bodies are miraculous, and there's so many different poses and shapes that we can play with. And, the poses are kind of a way of exploring our body and exploring our inner self, as well as like creating an expression with our outer body. I always like to start by centering, kind of clearing the mind. Close your eyes and breathe in softly through your nose and breathe out softly through your nose. Really open your heart, your mind, your body to the breath, which in yoga we call prana, life force energy, and let yourself just fill up with the breath. And as you exhale, just soften and release. So you want to feel a big inner expansion in all dimensions on the inhale. And truly letting go of the past and the future, and just be with your breath in the present moment. So feel free to keep your eyes closed or open your eyes and reach your arms up. And slowly let your arms float down to the floor. Inhale, reach up again. Maybe gaze up, and exhale. Slowly lower your arms down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Keep lifting up through your fingertips and stretch over to the right. Try and stay grounded through that left hip. Come back up to center and stretch over to the left. Come back to center. This time lower your right hand down. Push into your right hand to help ground that left hip, and stretch your left arm like in an arc over your head. And come back to center. And same thing, other side. Good. Come back to center. Bring your hands to your knees, and as you inhale, lift your chest, draw your chest forward, take your shoulders back. As you exhale, round through your spine. So moving through cat-cow, a seated cat-cow, which is a little bit different than when we're on our hands and knees in tabletop. But getting the spine moving, whether you're sitting, standing, on your hands and knees, is always like a really important thing to do. And now we'll just start to circle. Nice big circle. Just let everything kind of go loose and have fun, be free with this. Nice, full, gentle movement. And let's reverse the direction of our circles. Really enjoying full body movement. Getting that spine open up and free. And come back to center, and let's just stretch out our fingers a little bit. So point your fingers towards your legs, and you can start to lean back a little bit. Now, you can try different positions, like with your fingers further away or a little closer. Closer, there's usually not as much stretch, but you can still kind of puff up your back and lean back a little bit, or you can slide further forward. Just finding a place where you just get a gentle stretch on the back of your wrists. And make fists with your hands, bring your knuckles together, Almost like a puzzle pieces fitting together. And with your elbows bent, there won't be much of a stretch, but when you straighten your arms, then you'll start to feel a stretch all across the back of your wrists, up into your shoulders, and just gently move back and forth a couple of times. Good. Now let's come into tabletop. And come onto your forearms. Step one leg back and then the other leg back, coming into forearm plank. So push into your hands, push into the big toe mounds of your feet. Think of keeping your belly, your ribs lifting away from the floor, so you don't want this kind of sag. So engage through your core, press into your hands. Maybe gaze a little bit forward of your fingertips. Remember to breathe. Maybe focus on those nice, slow breaths that we did when we were centering ourselves. And slowly lower your hips down. Pull your hands back by your shoulders. Press into the top of your feet. And maybe curl your way up into a little cobra. If this hurts your low back, then go a little lower. And think of stretching your tailbone towards your heels and stretching your chest in the direction of the front of your mat. Good. Slowly lower down. And curl back up again. We're just going to lift and lower one more time. So think of stretching forward as you lower down to create length in your spine. Inhale, curl up again, and shift your hips back into child's pose. We'll just take a few breaths here. And come up onto your hands and knees. Stretch your left leg back, push into your big toe mound to engage your legs. So that will kind of naturally draw your belly up a little bit. And without sagging your hips, so keeping these front hips lifted, hip bones lifted, lift your leg up and stretch your arm forward. And find a little balance here. It's kind of like you're doing forearm plank. Well, you're engaging your body in the same way that you would forearm plank. I think this is easier than forearm plank, but it's a little more balance orientated than forearm plank. And lower your arm and leg down, step your right leg back, push into your big toe mound, float your leg up and float your left arm forward. And again, find a little balance here. Nice soft breath. Good. Lower your hand and leg down. And now we're going to play with, I like to call this like half moon on our hands and knees. So if you want, one variation is to bring your foot out a little bit behind you. And that'll be like a kickstand. It'll make it easier to balance. If you want more challenge, try and line your toes up with your knee, but bring your right hand out to the right a little bit more. Pick your left leg up, stack your left hip over the right hip, and stack your left shoulder over the right shoulder. Reach your arm up. Keep this left leg lifting. And lower your foot to the floor. Reach your left arm over your ear, creating a nice stretch all through this left side of your body. And lift your leg up, your arm up again. And this, you can do the same thing, or you could try keeping this back leg, the top leg lifted, and stretch your arms straight over your ear. And then maybe you lift your leg up a little higher, reach your arm up, and come back to where your leg and maybe your arm are kind of in the same distance from the ground. And then maybe lower your foot down. Big lift of the ribs. And come on back into your tabletop. We'll do the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to switch around so I'm still facing you. So bring your left hand a little bit out to the left. Your left toes can either be in line with your knee or kind of angled out to the side. Stretch your right leg back, stack your right hip over the left hip. Whoops. Your right shoulder over the left shoulder. Reach your leg up and reach your arm up. try not to sickle your foot. And then reach your toes down, reach your fingers toward the floor, find a big stretch, and come on back up. This time, you could do the same thing we just did, or you could just try reaching your arm forward and keeping your leg up. And then maybe lift your leg a little bit higher as you reach your arm up, and go back and lower down and come back into tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, stretch up and back for your down dog. And then lift up onto your tiptoes and lower down to your heels or towards the heels. And just lift and lower a couple more times. And walk your feet forward to your hands. Lift and spread all 10 toes. Keeping the toes spread, lower down. See if you can find space between each toe. Press into the ground. And extend through your spine. Rise all the way up to stand. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. And just pause for a moment in Tadasana. Now for half moon, if you're not that familiar with it, you can always stand by a wall, like with your back to the wall, or even have your one arm on a chair to help with your balance. Otherwise, we're going to just start to come forward into a warrior 3 position, reaching the top leg back. And see if you can, just like we did on the ground, see if you can stack your hips. Maybe bring your hand to a block or the floor. Stack your hips and your shoulders. Reach your left leg up. Reach your left arm up. Maybe gaze up toward the sky. But keep your legs, both legs, nice and strong and engaged. And lower your top hand down. Square your hips. Lower your left foot down. Lift and spread all 10 toes. Hinge at your hips and rise all the way up to stand. Again, bring your hands to your heart and Tadasana. Again, I'm going to face the other way, so I'm facing the camera. Just take a moment here. And start to shift your weight forward, reach your right leg back, reach down with your left hand for the floor or a block or a book. Stack your right hip over the left hip, stack your right shoulder over the left shoulder. Really be strong in both legs. Reach your arm up, maybe gaze up. Gazing down is a little bit easier. So whatever you feel comfortable with or whatever you want to challenge yourself with. And lower your hand down, square your hips, lower your hips back down. Rise all the way up to stand. Again, Tadasana, hands in front of your heart. So now we're gonna do a little more play with this, a little more movement between poses. So let's start in Tadasana. On your inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, hinge at your hips and forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you want. And just hang out here in your forward fold for a few moments. And bend your knees, step your left leg back. Rotate the left heel down, and we're gonna come up into warrior 2. So you can adjust your legs in whatever position is comfortable for you. But try and find a connection of your feet so they're deeply rooting into the ground. And reach up and back. Reverse your warrior. And now we're gonna try and float into half moon, and maybe just a hovering half moon or maybe full half moon. But start to shift your weight forward. Now our hips are already open, so start to shift your weight forward and press off your back foot. And you can either bring your hand to a block or the floor, or you could float. So for this one, I'm not going to look up. That would be too challenging for me at the moment. You could lower your hand down and then look up if you want. And now, if you were looking up, look down, and let's see if we can step back into our warrior two. So bend your front knee, reach back strongly with your back leg, float your back heel down, reach up and back, reverse your warrior, and windmill the arms, step back into your down dog. And walk your feet forward to your hands. Lift and spread all 10 toes. Rise all the way up to stand. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. Tadasana. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. On your inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, hinge at your hips and forward fold. Step your right foot back, rotate the back heel down, and come on up, warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And as you come forward, start to shift your weight towards your front foot, push off your back foot. And we can come into like a hovering half moon. Stacking your hips, stacking your shoulders. Keeping the top leg nice and strong. Maybe lower your hand to the ground or a block. Maybe give your plant a little extra loving. Maybe gaze up toward the sky as you reach out through that top leg. And now see if we can lightly step back into our warrior two. Good, reach up and back, reverse your warrior, and windmill the arms, downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, and either step forward or hop forward. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. And exhale, hands to your heart. Let's put that into another smooth flow. So as you inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, forward fold. Step back into plank. And lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Sweep the right leg up and back. Hug your heel to your hip, your knee to your chest. Straighten your leg as you step forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. Open up, warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And come forward. See if we can just do that hovering half moon. Opening up, and then reach back. Coming back into warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And windmill the arms. Step back to down dog. So reach the left leg up. Nice and long. Hug your heel to your hip, your knee to your chest. Step your foot forward, rise up, crescent lunge. Open up, warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And come all the way forward and see if we can hover into our half moon pose. Finding your balance as best you can in the moment. And then bend your front knee, reach back. Coming back into warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And windmill the arms. Step back into your down dog. Then walk your feet forward and come into a squat. So squatting every day is really a useful thing to do for your body. It opens up your hips, opens up your low back, works on some dorsiflexion of your ankles, ankle mobility. Lower your hips all the way to the floor. Slowly roll onto your back Then hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock around from side to side, both directions. Then straighten your left leg on the ground, hug your right knee into your chest. Release your fingers and hold the back of your thighs. You straighten your right leg. Then take your left hand to the outside of your right foot or on your calf, your ankle, and slowly bring your right leg all the way across to the floor. We'll just stay here for a few breaths, letting your body settle into this pose. Enjoying the moment. And just let that right shoulder relax. If it's not touching the ground, that's okay. But put your focus there on relaxing that right shoulder and notice if it starts to go down a little closer to the floor or even maybe ends up on the floor. And pull the right hip back down to the ground to bring your right leg up. Release your foot, slowly float it down. And when your right heel touches, pull your left knee into your chest. Squeeze it in nice and tightly. Then release your fingers, hold the back of your thigh, straighten your left leg. You might want to shift your hips a little bit to the left. Take your right hand to the outside of your foot or anywhere along your leg and slowly bring your left leg across to the right. And we'll relax here for a few breaths. You can turn your head to the left and just think of relaxing your whole body and maybe in particular your left shoulder or any other part of your body that is kind of calling to you. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths, letting everything go. And slowly pull your left hip back to the floor to float your left leg up. Release your foot, let it float down slowly. Slowly, 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 all the way to the earth. Hug your knees into your chest and take one knee in each hand and circle your knees apart from each other. And you can reverse the direction of the circles. Give yourself one more big squeeze and stretch out just for a short savasana, letting everything relax. And just noticing if maybe you have a little more understanding of the miracle that you are, of the embodiment of love that you are, of the mystery of who you are, what you're capable of. How much you can be an embodiment of love. You're welcome to stay in Savasana longer. But for now, just stay here. We'll stay here for at least 3 more breaths. Slow breathing in and out through your nose. Begin to bring some movement into your body. You could circle your wrists and your ankles if you want. Stretch your arms over your head. And bend your knees, slowly roll to your side. And just pause for a moment so that you're not rushing to end this practice, but you're savoring every last moment of it. And so that this is just a transition from your practice into your life, which are really one and the same. And gently use your hands to press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope it was fun for you, and I hope it provided at least a little bit of challenge. And I would love to see you again on the mat. So please sign up if you haven't already. Hit the notification button. Leave me a comment. I'd really appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, whatever part of the day you're in right now. And see you again soon.